and there's no one there to challenge what the government claims before the FISA court. And joining me to discuss the hearing is the ranking Democrat of the committee that held the hearing today, Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger. Congressman, thanks for joining us. So we're told more than 50 plots disrupted, 10 of them homeland-based, but what's not entirely clear is how many of these attacks definitively could not have been prevented with more traditional tactics, gumshoe detective work. Do you have a sense of that?
Well, yeah, let me give an example. First thing that we think is extremely important to educate members of Congress and the public why we need this program and why we need it to protect Americans. The question about why we need these programs was asked to General Alexander. Could we have maybe possibly prevented the 9/11 attack? And his answer was this: you can't look back in history and say for an exact point of view that it could have been stopped or not if we had this program at that time. But what he did say is that if this program was in place, that we had a known al-Qaeda terrorist making contact with an individual who lived in San Diego. If, in fact, the program was there at this time and the NSA got that information, they would then turn that over to the FBI, and then the FBI would then go to the courts, and then the FBI would start their investigation, which would get phone records and see other investigations to see who they were connected to. Clearly, that would have shown the group that was in New Jersey. It could have shown that, based on investigation, that some of the al-Qaeda people were taking flying lessons in Florida. So this is a program that works. It's a program that does not listen to your conversation. It's a program that is overseen by the courts. And our role in government is to protect the country from these terrorist attacks. Now, there's another issue talking about why do you need all of this data. The first thing, this data is not, your name or your address is not involved in the data. Why do we need this large amount of numbers? And how the system works. If you want to find a needle in a haystack, which is a lot of what our intelligence community does, you need the haystack. And the providers who have this information, they keep it only for a certain period of time. So in order for us to be involved and stop these attacks, we need to move right away. But it's clear, again, we're not listening to any content. When we do, this program does kick in. You don't get anything more than a phone number and length of call. Now, if in fact you need to move further in the program and find out if there's a connection with terrorists, that's then turned over to the FBI, and then that's when the courts get involved.
President Obama, in an interview on PBS, called the process transparent because there is this FISA court, which, of course, is a secret court. Do you think the process is transparent?
Well, let's talk about what works. You don't want to give your sources and methods to your enemy. The whole purpose is to stop these attacks. Unfortunately, what has just happened with these leaks, that you terrorists and our enemies, people who are against us, understand how we operate. So
you don't think that they knew beforehand that the American national security might be monitoring their phone calls or their emails?
But they didn't know how and how we did it, what the method was. They didn't know the systems that we have.
They still don't know really the systems. We just have a vague idea.
Well, let's talk about the courts as far as transparency. We have people say, the courts are rubber stamped. No way are they rubber stamped. In the first place, the courts are U.S. District Court judges. Our forefathers created a great system of government, checks and balances between the administration, Congress, and the courts. So these are judges that are overseeing this process to make sure it's legal, that the intelligence community and administration are following the rules and the laws. And that's the purpose of where the courts are. And the way the system works, and I asked this question to General Alexander today, why are they not considered rubber stamp when they approved so many of the requests? And one of the main reasons is that the courts have a staff, and the intelligence community goes to the staff, gives them the information ahead of time, and then they come back and say, well, the court has a problem with this issue or that issue. So that when they eventually come to the court, most of those issues have been resolved and looked at. But
before I have only time for one more question, sir, and I want to play something that NSA Director General Alexander said when asked today about how many people were in the same position as NSA leaker Edward Snowden, contractors.
There's on the order of 1,000 system administrators, people who actually run the networks, that have in certain sections that level of authority and ability to interface with the system.
How many of those are outside contractors rather than?
The majority are contractors.
So you said in this hearing, sir, that we need a seal in the crack. Quickly, if you could, are there with too much access to sensitive information because of all these contractors?
No, you need a team to make sure that we're dealing with this amazing amount of volume that we have in conversations, like finding a needle in a haystack. And what we need to do and know now is we had a breach. We need to develop a system so that when someone like this decides to go against their country, to break the law, that there needs an alarm system that will go off. That didn't happen in this case, so we have to learn from that. The other issue about contractors is that contractors and the relationship with contractors and the government is very important. Contractors do research and development. What we have to do with contractors, though, is to make sure we hold them accountable for their performance. Also, contractors save us money in the end. If we have a 3-year program, you don't hire somebody for 25 years to do a 3-year program. So we need to make sure that we oversee, we hold contractors accountable, but more importantly, we have a system, if there are going to be breaches, that alarm us sooner than they did in this situation.
All right, Congressman Dutch, Rupersberger, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, thank you so much.